Cal Ripken starts his 21-31 game. You're in the dugout.
Pretty exciting. It was. He tied the record the night before, 21-30.
You pitched that night.
I did pitch that night, actually. I got lucky to be involved in the situation a little bit. And everybody's just waiting for 4.5 to be complete with us having the lead on the next day. And as soon as that was official, the game became official, we shook his hand, and then the ceremony basically started, I think, and he did a little curtain call lap around the stadium. And it lasted like almost a half hour, I think. It was pretty long, at least 20 minutes to a half hour. And it was very exciting. It was a really cool thing to be part of.
The night before, you pitched, I think, a shutout, and I think you commented that virtually nobody even noticed.
Yeah, I was pretty much second page. It was pretty much irrelevant. Luckily, I was just really trying hard that day to make sure that we won on the game that he tied the record. So I was pulling for a big day for him. So it's much nicer if he can celebrate it after a win as opposed to celebrating personal accomplishments in a loss. So.
Did you kind of stay clear? Was there any special? Maybe not.
No, he was a pretty big, tough guy. Yeah, he actually liked a little rough housing and having a good time. So no, he was in the middle of everything, having fun, hanging out with the guys. Yeah, I pitched against the Texas Rangers was my first start. Yeah, 6 innings. I remember Tom Kelly took me out. He said, "That's enough." I'm like, "It's only 6 innings." We're up like 5 or 6 to 1. So I thought, I was ready to go longer in the game.
Yeah.
And then coming out of Arizona, my goal was always to pitch 27 outs. So I kind of just wanted to do the same thing. But you learn as you go that you have a bunch of other pitchers that can come in there and do the job as opposed to most college programs.
On the mound, they say, "Ladies and gentlemen, pitching for the Minnesota Twins, Scott Erickson."
Yeah, it's kind of nerve-wracking. That was one of the 3 times I said I've been nervous in the big league game. That was my first start, my first playoff start. A year later against Toronto, I was nervous. And then, strangely, in '97, I came out of the bullpen to pitch for Jimmy Key. I was out there throwing a bullpen during the game because we were shorthanded in the pen, and Davey Johnson asked me if I'd come in and get a couple guys out, and all of a sudden the adrenaline just shot from being relaxed to, and that was probably the 3 most nervous times I've been on the mound. Well, the excitement was mostly when other players did good things. Jack Morris is the most memorable part of that thing, is Jack throwing 10 scoreless and running out on the field after we just won the World Series. Backtracking when I threw a hanging slider to Ron Gant and Kirby jumped up on the glass, and they show that highlight all the time. I don't get much credit for throwing hanging a slider, but they gotta show a little more of who hit the ball, not the guy just going up and catching it.
Yeah,
so
you do see that a lot.
Yeah, that's a popular highlight, but a great play, luckily by Kirby, that might have changed the game.
What was Tom Kelly like?
Good manager, really stickler for the fundamentals, which is why that organization has been so solid for so many years. Even after he left, the fundamentals that were set there of taking the extra base, fielding your position, hustling all the time, just stuck through the organization for a long time. He was a hard-nosed manager.
Kirby Puckett.
Great guy. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had. He was a great person. It's a shame that he's not here.
Gagne was on the team then?
Yeah, incredible shortstop. He could cover, especially on turf for a ground ball pitcher. Couldn't ask for a better. I think when he left, my ERA went up like 2 runs.
Herbeck.
Another great guy. That was really a team full of great people. Just a real down-to-earth, fun, loving, good guy.
Pretty much homegrown guys on the team, weren't there?
Yeah, Herbeck was born in Bloomington, Minnesota, which is probably about a half hour from the Dome, and he still lives there. So yeah, he's born and raised Minnesotan.
The actual team itself were pretty much within the minor league system of the Twins. I don't remember a lot of guys that they purchased to bring in there.
No, I think that whole team that won the 87 World Series was pretty much Tom Kelly's whole team through the minors with Gaetti and all those guys. And then 91 team, they picked up Chili Davis and Jack Morris were the 2 big, and then Palirulo also was, I guess, 3 big free agent guys. And they acquired a couple guys through that Viola trade for Aguilera and Tapani and a couple guys.
Right. You pitched a no-hitter.
Just a lucky day.
So you're in the 9th inning. Walk me through the 9th inning.
Well, it was about from the 5th inning on, the crowd started, cheering as I went on and off the field. And when the 9th came out, I was pretty confident and feeling good. I wasn't, too nervous. I got the first 2 guys out, and then walked the next 2 guys. So apparently, I didn't quite throw it the way I should have been. And then I got a pop up from Greg Vaughn, which I thought was a hanging slider. So I got pretty lucky that he popped it up. But with the circumstances of the situation, I guess he was a little nervous too.
What was your gut? Is your gut churning anything like this? I mean, You're down to that last out, and
Actually, no, you're not. You're not. Most guys, I think, are probably pretty calm and excited, but not. Once you got to that point, you're not doing anything unusual, or you're not just afraid to throw it over the plate. Now you're really trying to lock in and get it. The first time you get traded or sent off to a different team, it is strange. It's kind of a hurtful feeling, you know. It's like the team, your family just got rid of you. So, and then I had to go pitch against them my next start.
Oh, really?
So yeah, which was a little strange too. So all your friends, you're just in a locker room 7 days earlier. Now you're pitching against them. So it's a strange. But after that, I was pretty effective against them.
Mike Flanagan, what was he like?
I really liked Flanagan. He was probably the best pitching coach I had. He was very quiet, down to earth, and just observed and then kind of let you know what he thought. And I really liked his style, the way he went about it, and I try to kind of emulate that myself and not get too hyper or rambunctious around the guys or too fired up, but just kind of tell them, you know, what's possibly going to help them, or what when they're doing the best, to try to feel what they're doing so they can remember that, and when they get in trouble, try to think about, you know, they're going to know their body better than anybody else, so it's important they know the mechanics of their delivery. So he was really good at that, and a good person for me to try to emulate, trying to be a pitching coach.
What is your style of pitching coach?
Kind of what I just said. I'm pretty laid back. You know, not too fiery on the guys. You don't try not to yell at them or raise my voice to get them to do something, but you know, try to really just help them out. Be very helpful and there for any questions, and hopefully have answers for whatever they come up with.
What's the highlight for Scott Erickson,
The highlight?
other than being interviewed today? I mean,
It's not going to get much better after today, I don't think. It'd be nice to get back to the big league someday as a coach. That would be a lot of fun. It's really, the stadiums are awesome, the crowds are great. I love the travel, you know. It's a pretty fun lifestyle. The games are more important, but at the same level, teaching these guys right now and getting something out of it is also rewarding.
You hear the song by Queen, "We Are the Champions." What do you flash back to?
Back to a little dining room in the Metrodome where our whole team was drinking champagne and singing and doing the Atlanta Chop. And we played that song over probably 20 times. And for like 2 years, I get the chills when I heard that song. So it's a pretty amazing song to hear when you have just won a world championship. We combine Tom Kelly and Davey Johnson. Very fundamentally sound and strict. Make the guys play hard, run 90 every time they're up at the plate. Yeah, you don't need to scream at them to get them to do it. So a good combination of those two guys. A lot of people ask the hardest person to get out, which is it's tough because you face so many hitters, and it's usually a type of hitter more than an individual. I know McGuire and Griffey had hit the most home runs off me, I think 5 each. But I didn't look at... Griffey was a very good hitter, but usually little slap left-handed hitters were the toughest guys to face. You know who I faced was Barry Bonds, who I talked to Kurt Schilling prior to pitching because it was interleague play. We went to Arizona and then San Francisco, and he just said walk him. Walk him and face the guy behind him. Yeah. And twice I walked him and the next guy hit a double play ball.
There you go.
Yeah, it worked out well. The one time I did pitch to Barry, he hit a ball as hard as he could hit it, and it was a line drive right over. Luckily, I had a little sink on it, so he didn't get it up in the air, but it was right over the second baseman's head at 120 miles an hour.